Hey guys, how's it going? It is your boy, Manga Man Drew, and I'm back to do a review for a series that I didn't think that I'll actually do a review for it, but here we are, because this is going to be my review of Dr. Stone, manga chapter 232.1. Yes, this is actually going to be a one-shot by Boichi, as well as Inagaki himself, for the great series that is Dr. Stone. And when it comes to this chapter, it's a very interesting chapter. It is a one-shot, but it is focusing on the events that happened after the ending of Dr. Stone, where, you know, it was revealed that we're going to be going and creating a time machine. So it's just a very small story that encompasses what's going to be happening after the fact, and that there is a story that is still there to be told, but it doesn't necessarily need to be told in Dr. Stone proper. So let's dive more into the actual review, because there's a fair amount that we really need to talk about. For starters, when it comes to the chapter, it starts off weirdly enough with just Senku in the middle of the ocean. He has no idea where he is. He doesn't know how he got to this position, but he starts doing the Dr. Stone, the Senku thing of figuring out what is going on, how to survive in the ocean, where he eventually goes around and begins to find his fellow friends after it is revealed to him later on when he finds Kohaku that what happened is that he, along with everyone else in the surrounding area, or specifically who are on the plane with him, are going with Yuzurihara and Taiju on their honeymoon. And that everyone that we know is there. We see Kohaku there, we see Suika, we see Gin, we see all of the main players there. And what happens is that the plane gets struck by lightning, which is going to play a big role later on in this one shot, but it gets hit with lightning. They all fall into the sea, and using the Medusa device that they had with them, are all turned to stone. So from here, we do know that this story does take place after the end of the series, and that Senku is planning on receiving or gaining some material to help with the time machine, but because he's now in the middle of the ocean, he has to pretty much do exactly what he did at the beginning of the story, again, building up the world from scratch, where we do have the title of this chapter being terraforming, and that's going to play a bigger role towards the end of the chapter. But we see that Senku is once again doing what Senku does, just finding things that needs to be used to create things that he's already created. He finds Kohaku, and because of Kohaku's skill and the fact that she comes from a village that is very versed in underwater and fishing mechanisms and mechanics, she's able to help Senku build a raft, gather food, gather material in the sea, while also finding other characters such as Suika, such as Chrome, who once again, because of their minds and how they view the world, is able to create and devise ideas that would lead to them gaining more revival fluid, because they only had 3 left. One was used on Senku by accident because he was hit in the back of the head by a tree. He forgot everything that happened. But we get to see all of them in action. We get to see all of the strengths of the characters here. We get to see how Chrome, as well as Suika, with their scientific minds and their ideas, are able to deduce that the lightning that they saw with St. Elmo's fire is able to help them create more revival fluid, which leads to Ukyo being revived, which eventually leads to characters like Tsukasa, Chelsea, Sai, Ryusui, all being revived, as we also get to see them joining the crew again, and as a reminder to people who these characters are and what their skills can be used for, to gathering more material and building up the world itself when they are at sea. And it's also revealed that they are actually in the Bermuda Triangle, and where they are actually going to was kind of like the Swedish area to gain a certain material, which they were actually able to find in the Bermuda Triangle, luckily enough. But overall, pretty much everyone else gets revived. Everyone that was lost on the plane come back together. They're able to build up a raft that eventually leads to them eventually being rescued by Stanley and the crew, to which Stanley had full, unabashed faith that Senku would be able to survive in the Bermuda Triangle, in an area where people are not necessarily guaranteed to survive, as they are able to return back to civilization, to the surprise of everyone else besides Zeno himself. And from here, this is where it is revealed that they were looking for a type of material like silicon metal that is used for a specific type of conducer, or conductor that was going to be used for the time machine. And that when they have this material, another part of Senku's plan comes into fruition and comes to the knowledge of everyone in the area, to the surprise of pretty much everyone, where it's revealed that for Senku to truly be able to create this time machine to save all of humanity, what they have to do is terraform other planets, as we do get a panel of the entire moon or another planet with a city on it. So this is what I was talking about. The title of this chapter and what Senku is planning on doing is terraforming, using the planet's resources to the humans or our advantage. And that this is going to be something that they're going to do on multiple planets throughout the solar system, because there are certain elements that are not found on Earth in abundance or really at all that are actually found on other places. And the chapter pretty much ends with Senku once again declaring that it's time to get excited as the chapter ends. So pretty much what this chapter is, like I said, it's just a condensed version of the story of Dr. Stone. We get to see a lot of aspects of Dr. Stone just in this one shot. We get to see Senku on his own, as well as we get to see everything that Senku was able to accomplish on his own and with others, pretty much seen in this chapter. The gathering of material, the creation of revival fluid, the use of the environments to help benefit them. We also get to see more of the characters and what they were able to do in the story as a whole, and it gets pretty much condensed in this chapter, such as how Kohaku is very good at fishing, swimming, and doing all of the physical manual labor. And with Chrome as well as Suika, the type of minds and how they're able to think is able to give Senku different ideas that can help them actually progress and survive on the sea, as well as just getting to see how them working together and doing all of these crazy stuff can lead to them once again creating the revival fluid, as well as we just get to see more of the other individuals and what they were able to do. Unfortunately, a lot of characters do not really get that much focus. I don't even think that Tsukasa or really Ukyo even speaks in this entire chapter at all, but we also get characters like Ryusui, as well as we get to see some old familiar faces. Like I said, this is all based off the idea that Taiju as well as Yuzurihara are getting married, and they do somewhat play a role in this. Yuzurihara makes a sail that gets them pretty much closer to where they need to be and saved, while Taiju was the one that actually activated the Medusa in time for everyone to be revived and survive the crash. So pretty much everyone in this story served a role similar to what they served in the actual main story. Even Zeno, who still had faith in these kids and the ability for Senku to be able to survive this entire endeavor. So overall, like I said, this is just Dr. Stone at its Dr. Stoniest, just doing amazing science, working together as a team to create things that are unthinkable for just a single person to do on their own, and eventually just working more and more towards doing the impossible in our time that can be possible if we work together. So yeah, I just really enjoyed this chapter of Dr. Stone. Didn't know that this was coming out until a few weeks prior, and I really wanted to do an actual reaction to it, but I just got so excited and so hyped that Dr. Stone was coming back, even for a one-shot, that I couldn't hold myself back and just jumped right into it and started reading it, and then realized halfway through it, I'm like, oh, I could have done a reaction to this. But still enjoyed this chapter, still enjoyed this review, and like I said, this embodies what I love about Dr. Stone. The science, the adventure, the characters, and just the impossibilities becoming possible. I just love Dr. Stone, and I love this chapter. So yeah, that's all I really have to say about this chapter of Dr. Stone. Hey, we could get another one-shot. I don't think that we will, but if we do get another one-shot, or if we do get another story from Boichi as well as Inagaki, I would love it to the very end. They have shown me through Dr. Stone that they do know how to draw and make a manga, so I'm very excited to see where they go in the future. So yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this video, hopefully you enjoyed this review, and hopefully I will be able to catch you in my next video, whatever it may be. So, like, comment, subscribe, and goodbye!